I'm not trying to do a radio thing here. I really want to put this out there because I think there's a 50-50 shot. Maybe even a little bit more than a 50-50 shot. Maybe 60-40 that we're seeing the last handful of times we're going to see Clayton Kershaw pitch. Clayton Kershaw has every year we're doing one-year deals. Every time he's asked about whether or not this could be his last season, he just kind of dismisses it. He never really lets you know one way or the other. He does not want to be a part-time guy. He does not want to be a guy that's just kind of out there getting through games because he can kind of get through some games at this point in his career. When he's on, he's still about as good as you're going to find. The problem is he just can't make 25, 30 starts a year. He just can't. He's hurt, even despite him saying that he's not. The Dodgers are in a weird spot right now. They're totally in some transitional period in their pitching staff that's bizarre. He doesn't want to be feted at the end of his career the way that other players might, and that's not neither good nor bad. It's his preference. If this goes the way it's feeling like it's starting to go, where he's really struggling even to get through a handful of innings, it's not a stretch to think that this is the end of the line for him. Not because he can't be effective, but because he doesn't want to do this.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to run out of gas at the end of every season over and over again and be holding on by his fingernails hoping to catch lightning in a bottle. That he's Clayton bleeping Kershaw, and he's not comfortable being anything other than that. And I wouldn't be even a little surprised if at the end of the year we find out month or two after the season, you know what? I've decided I'm done playing Major League Baseball.
I used to always have a theory about Kobe, and this was Kobe pre-Achilles tear, because post-Achilles changed the math on everything I'm about to say, and I never got the opportunity to ask Kobe about it because it was something I wanted to ask him not in a scrum, and it just became harder as his career went along to actually get him in those non-scrum periods. But around like 2012, 2013, where Kobe was still playing at a very high level, but you could see the signs of age starting to creep in relatively. I used to always think that he was going to retire, leaving a little bit on the table, as opposed to possibly putting himself in a place where, A, he starts looking more vulnerable, because most of the great ones do not want to ever appear vulnerable.
Sure.
But also, too, like you just mentioned with Kershaw, Kobe played basketball in a very specific way for very specific reasons, and if he could not do that thing, which is be the focal point of an elite championship team, really with the Lakers, he had no interest in doing anything else. Like, he was not going to be Vince Carter, who was a Hall of Famer, but spent the last 5 years of his career as a high-end role guy. And it was actually, side note, pretty fascinating to watch that career reinvention. Kobe had no interest in that. And I think Kershaw, I agree with you, doesn't have any interest in something like that. He wants to be the ace of, I think, the Dodgers, pitching at Clayton Kershaw level. The other thing, too, and it's not apples to apples because, LeBron is still playing at a very high level over the course of entire seasons, but it's work for LeBron in ways that LeBron used to make dominance look easy.
So did Kershaw.
Yeah. It does not look easy for either one of them anymore. They can still do it, but you see the effort. You see the sweat. And that's often something else that makes, LeBron, I think, was being candid when he talked after the Western Conference Finals about considering retiring. Why wouldn't he?
Well, I think there just comes a moment where it hits you, I don't know if I want to do this anymore. He's got children that are getting the age where, look, you're a father, I'm a father, Jorge's a father. When they're babies, there's not a lot of stuff that you have to be there for. They need their mothers far more than they need their fathers. And you be around as much as you can.
It's more about trying, if you can, to not miss the milestones.
Right.
Like the first word, the first step.
First day of school, all of these. But there comes a point where you do want to be there for school plays and recitals and little leagues and whatever else it may be. You want to be there for that. And when you have means like Kershaw, you can make decisions. And you just go back and look at how these last few seasons for him have gone. And they're all virtually identical, where at the beginning of the season, he's terrific. Takes a little bit of a break. He comes back. He's pretty good again. And then when you start to get towards the back end of it, it really starts to taper off because he's got about 100 innings or so in the tank. And they're using the 100 innings at the front part and the middle part of the season. By the time you get to the end, like you're talking about with Kobe, I don't just kind of want to be out here gritting my teeth, hoping to, white knuckle my way through 4 or 5 innings. I'm Clayton Kershaw, and his margins right now are at 88 miles an hour. They're virtually zero. He's smart enough, and he's got good enough stuff. If he throws that slider, if he throws that curveball, he can survive, but he's not looking to survive.
They're not into surviving.
Exactly.
Like Kershaw, Kobe, I think LeBron, when he eventually reaches a point where, like, no, really, you got to start thinking about this. These are guys that don't want to be carried. They don't want to feel like they're being carried by somebody else. Like maybe they're not obsessed with carrying everyone else, but they don't want to feel carried. And Kershaw would be in a position now where it starts becoming more important. How many people are you putting around him on a staff to offset the things that you know are going to happen with him?
He was the best pitcher on this team for the vast majority of the season. It's 6 months long. And even with the break that he had to nurse the injury, it either wasn't long enough or it hasn't healed completely, and this is what it's going to be.
Look,
the rest
you
of the
know
way.
this as well as anybody. Pitching is murder on your body. Like your body is not supposed to be doing what he does every 5th day. You're not supposed to do that.
Appreciate what's left. Maybe he comes back for another year. Maybe he still has that burning desire to try it one more time. I hope so. I'm just saying, prepare yourself that this could be the last handful of regular season games and whatever we get from him in the postseason, because he's not going to let you know beforehand. He's just going to say, oh, by the way, I'm done.